Welcome to the Bettis Musgrove Show, the podcast where personal injury legal expertise meets real-world advice to empower and protect you. Join us as we delve into the critical aspects of personal injury cases, break down legal jargon into actionable insights, and share essential safety tips to help you navigate life's unexpected moments. And now, here are your hosts, Spencer Bettis and Ben Musgrove.
Welcome to episode number 14 of the Bettis Musgrove Show. As always, I'm Ben Musgrove. This is my law partner, Spencer Bettis. We own and operate a boutique law firm here in Cumming, Georgia that specializes in personal injury. We come to you every couple of weeks with this podcast to give you an idea of what personal injury law is, what we do on a day-to-day basis, to try to inform you about those ideas and what's going on there. Then also, here lately, we've started bringing in members of the community to talk to us about their involvement in the community and what it is they do, what it is they offer, whether it's for Cumming, Forsyth County, or the state of Georgia. And today, I'm very excited to be joined by a guest, Mr. Logan Butler. Logan is a local lawyer. He is a father, a husband. What else can I say about you? He's a hunter. I mean, we've got a lot in common, so I'm really excited to talk to him today and get to hear his story and learn a little bit about Logan. So why don't you kick us off? Just give us an idea of who you are, where you came from, how you got here, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, Spencer, Ben, thank you all so much. Love your podcast. Watch it when you post it, and I'm happy and honored to be here to talk with you guys. But yeah, my start's probably not a traditional lawyer start. Yeah. But I like that. I'm originally from Greenville, South Carolina. Okay. Went to a little small school in western North Carolina mountains called Morris Hill College. Got a degree in biology and spent 7 years as a biologist. I walked in the woods, looked at soil, looked at water, did air quality sampling. And decided I just wanted more, and quit my job, went to law school, and thought I would do environmental law, and realized that wasn't what I really liked.
Right.
Got involved in criminal law while I was in law school. Started out as an assistant district attorney, prosecuting cases in Barrow County, and then here in Forsyth County. Okay. And then in 2008, kind of went out on my own, and then in 2015 started my current firm, Patterson Moore Butler, with folks I'd known a long time, and specialize in criminal defense and probate litigation, and the rest of my firm specializes in family law, and we just love being here in Forsyth County. It's a great community to live in and to work in.
That's also very similar. I got a biology degree in college as well and thought I wanted to be a doctor. That didn't pan out.
Was it organic chemistry?
Organic chemistry didn't help, certainly. Right. Neither did the physics or molecular biology or any of the rest of it, but it might have been just the hanging out on the back porch of the house too much.
There.
I thought, well, I've got this biology degree. I got a master's in biomedical science. I'll defend doctors when I get out of law school, and then that didn't pan out either, so here we are on the plaintiff side.
And now you're in the opposite end.
Right, exactly. But that's cool. So how did you end up in Georgia from South Carolina and North Carolina?
So ended up going to law school at Georgia State College of Law. So that's what got me into Georgia. I do have family here, some aunts, uncles, and cousins. So I knew about Georgia and had visited here. And then, I graduated law school in 2005, and my wife and I were looking for a place to live and came to Cumming and thought it was a great county and a great community and settled here and been here ever since.
All right, so you beat me here by 5 years. Spencer obviously been here for 250 years, but at least. And we were talking about that with our last guest. Everybody we've had on here is a long time, multiple generations of Forsyth County relatives. I am not, obviously. And so it's good to have another person who's a transplant.
It's a great place to transplant.
It is. It's an awesome place to live. We'll take you guys. Yeah, we appreciate it. Well, tell us about Patterson Moore Butler. So you said you do criminal law. A lot of folks do family law. What else do you guys have going on?
We have an attorney that does some bankruptcy, but those are our two primary areas, in addition to the probate work I do for like guardianships and conservatorships. Yep. But the bulk of my work now is criminal defense. It's pretty much anything from a speeding ticket to some of the worst crimes that can happen. Forsyth County is very safe. We're fortunate that we live in a safe county. But crime happens everywhere. Sure. And, a lot of times these folks get accused of things and they need someone on their side. Right. When it's the state versus them, they need a fair shot. Yep. And we're there to defend them and fight for them and make sure they're protected as possible during that process.
I get asked that question all the time. How could somebody defend so-and-so? And so I'm sure you do too. Yeah. It's like, look, we've got certain rights and these lawyers make sure those rights are protected. And it's not that you're going in there trying to get them off necessarily. You just want to make sure they're protected.
That's right. Yeah. And that's our society's based on those laws and those rights, and they need to be upheld. And
Yeah.
And someone has to stand up for the folks that aren't able to stand up for themselves. That's victims when the state's prosecuting and defendants when we're defending them. Everyone deserves a fair day in court.
Yep. How long were you a prosecutor in Forsyth County?
1 year.
1 year. Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. So you got to know all those guys over there pretty good.
Pretty well, yeah.
Awesome. We'll talk about that. What you got, Spence?
Well, I'll give you a shameless plug here. I will say Logan is one of the best attorneys in town. Personally in probate court, really, really great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Huge compliment.
Yeah. So I'll ask this. So with your practice, do you ever find yourself in kind of a difficult quandary with representing, criminal clients? How do you manage that?
It does happen. There's been a few cases that folks have come to me and I've just declined the representation because the facts or something about the case, I knew I wasn't going to be the best lawyer for that.
Right.
And then as any case, and then you guys probably see it too in your personal injury, you've got a victim and it's emotional for them. My folks are potentially looking at prison time, loss of a career, loss of a family, and it's emotional. So having to kind of, be strong for them, but also you have to explain everything because if you don't communicate well, you're going to lose that trust, and you have to build that trust, and you have to, do what you say you're going to do and fight for these folks. And sometimes there's differences of opinion. Sometimes I give folks advice and they don't listen and things get worse.
It happened to your kid.
Yeah. So you have those quandaries.
Yeah.
You sure do.
When there's a lot at stake like that, do you feel quite a lot of pressure?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like there's sometimes you just are up at night just because you're thinking about a case, worrying about a case, And it's one of the bigger ones where someone might go to prison for a long time. That's a heavy load to carry.
Yeah,
for sure.
My wife calls it the 2 a.m. night terrors because I'll just sit up in the bed like, oh, my Lord, did I do this? I need to do this. Like, it freaks you out.
It does. It freaks you out at times.
It's a lot of pressure.
And did I forget something? Did I miss something?
Right.
Can I do better? You're constantly wanting to do your best, so you're constantly questioning yourself.
I'd say that happens to me on a weekly basis. It's like popping up like, oh,
it used to happen to me a lot more when I first got started. I've kind of eased into it a little bit more now, but
experience helps.
Yeah, couple times a month for sure. I'm sitting straight up in bed and I'm looking through my phone like, oh, did I send the email? Did I do this?
Yeah.
It happens. Yeah. So how does that, what Spencer's talking about there and representing folks and that live in the community, how does that tie in with you or living in the community as well? Any conflicts there? Any negative interactions?
I don't think there's negative interactions. I'll tell a real quick funny story.
Yeah.
I prosecuted here and just left the DA's office and was doing criminal defense work. So I was at the old jail we had here in the county and had a couple of clients I had to talk to in the jail. And so I talked to one client and they were taking him back. I was waiting for my next client to come out and there's an inmate in there who was mopping the floor. And he's just, doing his thing, comes around the corner and sees me and he looks at me. And I was, recently a prosecutor. So I'm trying to figure out, did I prosecute you?
Right.
Or did I defend you? I can't remember who you are. And he goes, are you a defense attorney now? And I said, yes, sir, I am. I wish I'd have known that. You did a good job putting me in here. I'd have hired you to get me out on this one. That's fantastic. It's a great story. But yeah, I mean, I've helped a lot of friends. I've helped friends' children that have gotten, speeding tickets, whatever. And when you're involved in the community, there's a side benefit of business generation.
Right.
But that only comes if you're truly involved in the community and you really devote time and effort and do a good job for your community, be it through nonprofits, through whatever you're helping your kids with at school.
Sure.
And just getting to know people here. And if you're genuine about that, they'll see you as a genuine person, and then folks will come to you. The business side, is an after effect of just doing right by your community.
I've noticed it a lot more since my kids have gotten into elementary school and just getting involved with whatever it is they're doing, plays and, parties in their classroom and stuff. So
yeah,
absolutely. I mean, just that interaction's huge.
And it's important for your family to be there for them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Sometimes I feel like I'm maybe there too much, but
I doubt that.
I doubt it. I was supposed to play in a golf tournament this Friday, and my kids are carving pumpkins in their class, and so I'm giving up the golf tournament to go carve pumpkins. But
I think we've all been there.
Yep. So what do you like best about criminal law?
I really think it's kind of the law behind it. Like you start getting into the constitutional issues and did law enforcement do their job right? And is there an issue with how they did something? Were my clients' rights maintained? Were they violated? What can we say? I like just that body of law. I find it interesting. But really the biggest thing I like about it is my goal is to help these people and to take care of them. And generally we get people in a better spot than where they started. Right. And I want someone to be in a better spot. Yeah. Most of my clients are folks who made a bad decision. They're not evil criminals out on some crime spree. That's rare. They're normal folks who maybe had one too many beers at dinner. Right. Or got in an argument because they were about to get divorced. Things that happen all the time, and someone just made a bad choice that landed them in jail. Sure. That choice shouldn't ruin their life, ruin their career, hang with them forever. So being able to help someone in that scenario really is my favorite part.
No, mine too, with the personal injury component. I mean, kind of like you said earlier too, it's the state against your clients. And in our cases, it's these massive insurance companies against our clients, and it's almost David and Goliath, so to speak. Somebody's got to step in there and take on the giant. So
that's right.
I enjoy it. That's my favorite part.
Yeah. Do you have types of cases from a technical perspective you really like to take on?
I do enjoy DUI cases. They're very technical now. The law's evolving to defendants' benefits now. There's some changes in the law that help with that. So that's highly technical. I really enjoy analyzing those. I enjoy drug cases with search warrants because that kind of gets technical and gets to that constitutional law issue of, did you get these drugs lawfully? If you didn't, then that's an issue. And if you did, we need to figure that out too.
Yeah. Yep. In a past life, I was a police officer, and DUI cases were very technical.
Yes.
On our end too.
The best part about a DUI case is watching the dash cam footage. That used to be a running joke in college, and we'd have Kearney brothers, whatever, got DUIs, they'd all go get their video, and then we'd sit in the living room and watch it, and the stupid stuff they would say.
There's something funny. That's true.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, when I was doing it, it was the beginning of the body cam phase.
Okay.
Yeah, and so a lot of great stuff.
Yep.
A lot of good entertainment.
I believe it.
So go ahead, Spence. I'd say something.
What do you think is something when someone's looking for an attorney that makes you pop out to them as their choice?
Well, part of it's just experience, being a prosecutor and then being a defense attorney. You've seen both sides of the equation. Part of it is just having relationships, and knowing the people to talk to and being able to get information and you can get more done by being nice and professional. Just coming in and barnstorming on every case is not effective. Right. So being able to talk to prosecutors, talk to law enforcement officers, that's a huge, huge benefit. And then, our firm is very community focused and client centered, and we're always going to focus on the client and devote the time needed to their case. Answer their phone calls, return their phone calls.
Yeah.
Do everything we can to take care of them.
That's the biggest one for
Definitely. Sure. I know you have the experience because I feel like every time I go to the courthouse, you're there.
About true.
If you've ever received one of his leaves of absence in the mail, it's like 16 pages thick with cases. So the man stays busy.
Yeah, it's true. Thank you.
Yeah, it's impressive. You see, you know what it is immediately because it's 2 inches thick in the envelope. That's fantastic. So, talking about how you interact with the public and how you interact with your clients, is there any specific tool that you implement in your practice that you think makes you better at your job?
Listening.
Yeah.
You have to listen. A lot of lawyers like to know the answers, and ultimately we need to figure out answers, but you can only get to those answers by listening.
Yep.
So you have to listen to your clients. You have to keep an open mind, but you also have to shoot them straight. Yep. I've had people come to me and, this other lawyer promised me they'd get it dismissed, and here I am with a terrible plea deal. And, you can't make untrue promises. Sure. You can't overpromise or overscare somebody. You have to be realistic with them because it's their life.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's my goal, is to always be realistic and say, here's what we got. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly about your case. Yep. These are your options, and let's figure out the best one for you. To me, that's just so important.
Yeah. I think the hardest part of our job is managing client expectations. So they see these billboards, say we're going to get $10 million for a leg injury, and it's like, you're not. Yeah, this was just that's not going to happen. That was some one-off or a catastrophic case, like your rear-end collision is not going to produce that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be upfront because otherwise they expect $10 million at the end, or they expect a dismissal.
That's right. And if you're upfront, then you develop credibility and trust, which in your profession, in your community, in your family, that's huge. You got to have both of those.
It's the only thing you can have, and once you lose it, it's really hard to get it back.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, you got anything else, Spence?
Well, I know that you're very heavily involved in our community. What organizations are you a part of?
It's been several. My former church, I was the Board of Trustees chair for a couple of years, and that handled all the administrative and capital projects of the church. I've held all the leadership roles in our local bar association, including the president.
That's right.
My Rotary Club, the near Forsyth Rotary Club, I held roles there, was president of that club several years ago. I've been just rolled off the Baldridge Boys Lodge Board of Directors. I was on it for 9 years and chaired it 1 year. I'm on the Leadership Forsyth Board of Directors now, and I'm the chair-elect for that organization.
Okay.
And then both of my daughters are involved in different activities at school, and we're heavily involved in all the PTO and boosters and making sure all of their activities run smoothly at the school.
Yep. That's all.
When you sleep, I don't. Right.
Yeah, that's an incredible list. I forgot that you were the president of the Forsyth County Bar. You probably held my favorite law day we've ever had. That was a great law day.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
That was a good day.
It was. It was fun. Everybody had a good time.
That's the one we had the panel, the top speakers up there. Yeah, that was good.
You had Chief Justice Melton that came up. Was that yours?
Maybe. We had Chief Justice. We had someone from the prosecuting attorney's council.
It was at the time.
That's right.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah, that was a while back, but yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah. So when did you first decide to start getting involved in these organizations?
So it was, not long after I'd moved to Forsyth County. And I'd always done volunteer work.
Sure.
In college, I spent a month out west volunteering with the National Park Service, just building tent pads and cutting brush. And
that's awesome.
I got to camp for free and earned it, but volunteered with them. I volunteered a lot with Habitat for Humanity through college. Our high school, we did a bunch of stuff. Then got into kind of my biologist job and didn't have quite the time or the resources to be as involved then. And then I got here and just saw how amazing the community was. But once you get involved with these different nonprofit organizations, and Forsyth County has a lot. There are a ton of organizations here. What you quickly learn is there is a tremendous need for that in our county. And, we're ranked number 1 or top 5 in just about every category. It's a highly affluent county, and it's shocking at how many folks don't fall into that mold and how many folks need the help of these organizations. And once you start realizing that, it's easy to find something you have a passion for and get involved because there's lots of need here.
Sure. Yeah, I see it too. The surrounding counties aren't as affluent as Forsyth County, and those people will come here sometimes looking for help. And, there's groups here that are able to help them.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's a great county. It really is a good place to live.
Absolutely.
Are you involved in any environmental biological organizations now?
Well, conservation.
Okay.
There's several types of hunting I enjoy doing. And so I also get involved with some of the conservation programs around ruffed grouse and pheasant and elk. And there's organizations that try to ensure there's habitat for these animals and opportunities are preserved for future generations. So I do get involved with that, but it's more of a financial support versus a hands-on support.
Yep. And I know, selfishly, when you get involved, like we talked about, you just get to know people and business comes because of it. What's another reason you think someone should get involved other than just trying to benefit their pocketbook?
Well, I think it's fulfilling.
Yeah. To
give back to your community and to help folks in need. It's fulfilling inside you. So it's worth doing for that. Those of us who are successful and blessed, it's good to give back.
Yep.
I wasn't always like this. I was a broke biologist walking around in the woods. So to be able to give back when you can, I think is very important just for society as a whole. And then you just learn stuff. Like you meet so many different people that you become great friends with, that you'll start hanging out with, that you'll get different connections. Maybe not business for you, but something you or a friend needs done. You've now made a personal connection There's so many good reasons to do that.
100%. But I love networking. I probably spend more time doing that than I do just about anything else. And it's fun. And I don't do it just to make money. I do it because I genuinely enjoy meeting people and just making those connections so that I can refer somebody to you.
Right.
If they get a DUI, or I can send them to Kevin Town if they've got a land use issue or whatever.
Yeah, we send stuff to you guys, and it started because I know several years ago you just called me out of the blue and said, "Hey, let's go have lunch."
Right.
And we went, had lunch, and we've had lunch off and on, and realized we had a lot in common. And
we could spend a whole podcast talking about elk hunting and
we could
stuff and bird hunting stuff. And we may do that here just about a bit and see where it goes. Still a possibility.
Yeah. Well, I missed something I wanted to circle back to. You do a lot of probate work.
I do.
Right? Probate litigation.
That's right.
What do you enjoy about that line of work?
Yeah, I do. I enjoy the guardianships and conservatorships because these are people who have diminished capacity usually, and they need help, and families need help getting through that process. How can I take care of my mom or dad, or my disabled child is now 18 and their doctor won't talk to me? What do I do? Helping them navigate that so they can take care of their family is a big deal. And sometimes family is maybe trying too hard to help, and the person doesn't need that guardianship.
Right. Yeah.
And being able to stand up for that person as well and say, wait a second, it's not time. You have good intentions, but you're a little too early.
Yeah.
And then, helping folks with just kind of basic estate planning, just giving them the peace of mind that their family's taken care of, their kids, if they have young kids, things are squared away just in case something were to happen. I enjoy that.
Yeah. You're still kind of preserving rights in a sense.
In a way you are. In a way you are. That's right.
The guardianship conservator stuff. I don't guess fun's maybe not the best way to say it, but it can be pretty fun.
It can be. Yeah, you're in there a lot.
Yeah. I've never done it, but the way I look at it is it kind of in that area, everybody seems to walk away sort of a winner. You've helped
sometimes
everybody. Yeah. That's how people get the feelings there. But especially in estate planning, like you said, you've kind of put things at ease. They know where everything's going to go. The kids may not be happy with the result, but the client gets
the client. Yeah, see, they're satisfied.
Taken care of.
Right. Yeah.
So that's huge. So, criminal defense attorney, used to be a prosecutor, also working in the probate area. You've dealt with a lot of government and a lot of government lawyers.
I have.
Don't want to throw any shade towards government lawyers, but how do you feel about lawyers in general getting involved, whether it's in politics, nonprofits, that type of thing? Is it an area that lawyers should focus on more? You take that and run with it wherever you want to.
Yeah, well, I definitely think nonprofits. You got to give back to these organizations. You got to support your community. And if Judge Bagley swore you in, he talks about kind of your higher calling and things that you've got to do as a lawyer. And it is an honorable profession, and we need to treat it as such. And giving back is a good way to do that.
Sure.
But I think what's most important, be it nonprofits or community or politics, you got to follow your passion. Because if it's not your passion, if you're doing it for a reason that is not passionate to you, I don't think you're going to be successful or genuine.
Yep.
And that's going to show to other people. So I think it's important because if all we did was our job, we'd go crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's high stress. We have bad facts. Y'all are dealing with folks who have, maybe had very serious injuries or lost a loved one. We're dealing with folks who are getting divorced or about to go to prison. The facts are heavy and hard to deal with, so you have to have other outlets. And I think those are great ideas, because I don't know why anybody does politics these days. It's gotten a bit ridiculous with social media and all that stuff. But if that's your passion, you should follow it.
Sure. Then, in our profession too, there's a very high substance abuse problem. And I think if you don't find an outlet like that that's healthy, where you can go get away from what we do, because like I said, we find people at their absolute worst when they come get us, whether they've been hurt or they've been arrested, whatever the case may be. So that stress, again, starts to build up if you don't find an outlet.
Yeah.
It'll crush you.
Yeah, that's why I like going out in the woods. I get away from it. Or if I'm riding my motorcycle, you have to just focus on not dying. So you don't think about work because you're busy riding your motorcycle. So things like that help.
I literally got in the deer stand last Saturday for the first time this year, and I was sitting there it's amazing watching the world come to life and just say a quick prayer, and thanks for letting me do this. You know what I mean? This is amazing. It's
a blessing.
Yeah, it is. Just to kind of, I don't know, reset, go into the next week, refreshed. It's all. I love it. I never shoot anything. I just sit out there and look at squirrels.
That's part of hunting, right?
Right. That's good stuff. So do you have any advice for people who are facing an allegation of a crime. So,
Yes.
and I guess it depends on what the crime is, but
It does, but there's some basics you should be aware of.
Yep.
You know, if the law enforcement shows up at your door and wants to talk to you about something, don't talk.
right, you don't have to.
You don't have to talk, and you can tell the law enforcement officer, you know what, I want to talk to a lawyer.
Right.
And stand firm.
Yeah.
You know, don't talk, and consult with a lawyer. Now, if they already have a warrant, they're going to arrest you, and you're going to be getting an attorney after the fact. You still don't talk about the case. You know, if they haven't gotten a warrant and you have time to come talk to a lawyer, then let's figure it out.
Yep.
There have been occasions people have come to me, you know, pre-arrest, and we've kept them from getting arrested altogether because we figured out what the issue was, and we knew we needed to talk to law enforcement and explain it. Other times, talking's not going to help. They've already made their mind up,
Right.
and it's better to remain silent. That's a right you have, and you shouldn't be afraid to use it. Other things, just be polite.
Yeah.
You know, when you're interacting with law enforcement or anyone like that, just be polite. Give them your name, give them your phone number. But then you really don't have to give them other information.
Right.
I mean, sometimes they'll try to, you know, I see it a lot on DUI cases, you know, can I see if you're safe to drive? No, I'm good. You don't need to check.
Right.
Well, why don't you want to prove it? They're trying to egg you into to giving evidence, and it's okay to say no. Like the field sobriety test. Like, I'd say no to them.
So outside of getting asked how somebody could defend somebody committed with a crime, the most popular question I get is, what should I do if I've had a couple of drinks after dinner and I get pulled over? You comfortable offering advice there?
Sure. I get that a lot.
Yeah.
And the first advice is if you're worried or concerned, don't drive.
Don't drive.
I mean, that's the simple and the best answer, right? If you've had a couple of drinks and you're like, I might be tipsy, I might not be, with Uber and Lyft and friends and all the resources we have today, it's safer and, trust me, much cheaper to get an Uber than to have to come see me. But realistically, I can say be polite. I wouldn't do field sobriety tests. You can refuse those. If I knew I'd truly just had one beer at dinner, and that was all, I'd probably blow in their portable breath test.
Right.
I'm a big guy. They'd see an 01. They're going to let me go home. If I was on the fence, I probably wouldn't do anything. Now, if you don't submit to an official test, they're going to try to suspend your license administratively, and that's something we have to deal with within the first 30 days. So there's consequences for those choices, but you're not required to give evidence against yourself, and I would not.
Yeah, I had an old lawyer tell me one time to answer their questions with questions, and I'm like, I don't know that that's a great idea. But I get it to the degree, have you had anything to drink tonight? If you say, yeah, I've had one or two, well, now you've admitted to drink, and that just gives them more.
Yeah, and it's easier to just say, you know what, I'd rather talk to a lawyer. I don't want to answer your questions right now.
Yeah, and then call Logan and get your license back.
That's right.
That's great.
What advice would you have for people that are considering a career in law, whether it's criminal law or what we do?
I've enjoyed it. This is my second career.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did it. I'm thankful I did it. It's fulfilling. It's provided opportunities for me and my family. It's provided opportunities to give back to my community. Things that I probably wouldn't have if I just worked a regular 9-to-5 job. But when I was doing some biology work, I was dealing a lot with EPA regulations. So I was kind of getting my feet wet in law and things like that, and realized I just liked it. That's kind of what drove me to law school. So then it's truly a passion, you know, and even if you're not sure, it's worth trying, because there's so many things you can do with a law degree. You don't have to be a trial lawyer. You can work in so many other industries, and it's beneficial. But it's also a commitment, as you guys know. I mean, it's a tough course of study. It's a hard life. It's hard work. It's fulfilling. So I wouldn't go into it lightly, because it does take a lot of effort to be successful.
It fit my personality perfectly. I'm a nerd. I enjoy reading. I mean, my wife just thinks it's ridiculous, but that's what I do. So, I mean, I think I fell directly into where I needed to be, probably not on the medical side. I enjoyed science, but I think I enjoyed this much more than I would have, the doctor world. But yeah, I think you got to be, if you're not somewhat passionate about it, it'll just spit you out.
It will. That's right.
Yeah. It requires a lot of work, a lot of weekends and nights and all that.
It does.
There's one piece of advice you could offer yourself earlier in your career. What would it be?
Probably be to to probably get the confidence earlier to go out on my own and start my own business and not be concerned about that. Because I went to the DA's office. I became off counsel with the firm, so I really didn't have any risk. And looking back, I could have done it. I mean, I'm glad of the path I took. I worked with great people. I mean, they're all awesome, amazing lawyers. I learned a lot and so thankful for the experience. But looking back, I realized I was overly cautious, overly scared, and taking that big step, which for a lot of people is scary. Like, I want to start, even if it's not a law firm, do I want to start a business? That's a scary step. I wish I just had more confidence in kind of going down that road sooner.
I was literally talking to an old law school classmate on the way into the office this morning, and he's a defense attorney for an insurance company. He's like, I think I want to make the jump to the plaintiff's side, start my own firm. And I said, do it. It's the greatest thing I think you'll ever do. And he's like, I'm just terrified to give up this guaranteed paycheck and not be able to support myself. And I said, well, no. That is terrible.
Legitimate fear.
Right. And it's going to take you a year, maybe 2 years before you start making money again. But I think if you just see it through and
you guys did that, and got together here with this firm, and we had reservations.
Yep. My wife had a great job, so I got to lean on her a little bit. So I didn't have to stress as much. But, I mean, at the same time, if I didn't believe in myself and take that leap, then we wouldn't be
That's right.
sitting here today. So
you guys are doing great, and I'm glad y'all got your firm.
Love it. It's been fantastic so far. We're about a year and a half now. So.
Yeah. That's great.
Great choice.
I did want to ask, I meant to earlier when we were talking about the groups you've been involved with, or do you know of any that right now just need people to come give time?
They probably all do. Yeah. Be realistic. And if you're interested in maybe serving on a board, and it's not a huge commitment, but it is a commitment if you're going to do that, go and volunteer. The Baldridge Boys Lodge deals with boys who've been removed from their homes, teenage boys, for a variety of reasons and can't stay at their home. And we have a facility where we house them, take care of them, nurture them, teach them how to be men, get into school, do all that stuff. Jesse's House in town does the same thing for teenage females. There's several, food banks and Mentor Me. And I think if you have that itch, just reach out to that organization and say, hey, what can I do to volunteer?
Right.
And they might say, hey, show up and help with this or help with that. And then you can see if it is your passion.
Yep.
And if so, don't be afraid to get involved. Like serving on these boards and guiding these organizations and helping with their strategic planning, you leave knowing you made a difference.
Right.
Because you steered the course of that organization for the better. So just jump in, just call anything you have an interest in.
Yep.
Like I used to, I still do, like to do construction stuff. That's why I did a lot of Habitat for Humanity volunteer work in college, because I like to go swing a hammer and build something. Yeah. So why not go help someone get a house?
That's it. Burn off a little extra testosterone.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think, I'm in class right now for Leadership Forsyth.
That's right.
I think your service on the board there I would say for any business individual, really anybody that just wants to get involved, that's a good way to kind of open your eyes to what's here in our community and how to get involved.
Tremendous way, because Leadership Forsyth gives you a broad picture of what's going on in our community with the different governments, organizations, nonprofits. Mm-hmm. In addition, you get leadership lessons that you can use no matter what your role is. Right? Be the owner or CEO of a business or a W-2 person who just wants to manage their team better. Right? You're going to learn something from that. And then that really helps you figure out where you want to get plugged in better. You're absolutely right, Spencer.
That's a great group.
Yeah.
Well, you want to get into some fun questions now?
Yeah.
All right. That's our favorite part.
Is this where I get nervous?
So I changed yours up a little bit. We've got pretty stock questions that we ask everybody. I wasn't sure. I've never seen you wear any kind of college gear or sports gear, so I didn't know if you were a fan of any teams.
Go Dogs.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Dogs. You heard it here.
That was acceptable. I took out the sports questions and put in some hunting questions instead.
Oh, there you go.
We'll lead it off with, I know the answer to this one, but Chevy or Ford?
I see you don't know the answer. A real impossible question.
Okay.
Because I have my 63 Chevy that I fully restored.
Yeah.
I drive a Ford Bronco.
Yep.
Have my Oldsmobile 442 hot rod.
Okay.
Got a Jeep. So I like all cars. Like Chevy and Ford's just too limiting.
I think it's your garage.
Well, there's 3 cars in the garage.
Okay.
3 cars in the driveway. And one up at my Dawsonville office because I didn't have room at the house.
Makes the wife and kids park around back so they can get
Pretty much, yeah.
I figured you would say Ford with the truck and the Bronco.
Yeah, but then my that 63 is a Chevy I restored. And that's, my great uncle bought that new. I learned to drive on it when I was a little kid. Saved it.
That is.
So it's got a special place in my heart. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I guess if I had to pick, I'd say Chevy, just because of that one truck.
I like it. Are you a coffee drinker?
Yeah.
All right. Do you like chain coffee or local coffee shop?
I prefer to go local if I can. I like to support local
Do
business.
you have a favorite?
I generally go to Community Cup. That's one of my all-time favorites. So love Jalen over there. She has a good mission. And
Coffee's fantastic.
Coffee's great. Yeah.
And they're 100 feet away.
Yeah, it's close.
Right across the street.
Yeah, I go there probably a little too often.
All right. Now, this is a new one for us. So what's your favorite shotgun?
That's easy. That is a Browning A5.
Okay.
All-time favorite shotgun.
Any particular type of hunting you like to do with it, or just that's your all good?
So I use it upland bird hunting, pheasant, quail, chucker, grouse.
Yep.
I think it's great for
It's a good looking gun for sure.
It is.
I've only shot one maybe twice, but it's good looking.
And I like the original, the classics. I like the new one. I like all of them.
All right. So talking about bird hunting, what's your favorite type of bird to eat?
So my favorite bird to eat is wild grouse,
Okay.
which is delicious. So incredibly hard to find now, at least down here.
Yep.
Georgia is the southernmost tip of their habitat, and we have birds in Georgia, but it's really hard to find. I used to have more luck finding them in western North Carolina, but yeah, wild grouse is just amazing to just grill it.
You like it grilled?
Yeah,
Okay.
like to grill it, keep it simple. Very sweet meat on the grouse.
It's good.
Really good, yeah.
I had a buddy that brought some home from South Dakota, I believe it was. Maybe. I can't remember now, but they were delicious. We got a whole pack full of them.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, I love that. Just hard to find.
Yeah. Why don't you take a couple spins?
All right, what's the last book you read?
So I don't read as much as I used to, just because I do read a lot at work and I'm pretty busy.
Yeah.
But the first movie I saw as a kid was Star Wars. My aunt took me to took me to see it, saw the original Star Wars. So I've been a Star Wars geek ever since then. But the last book I read was one of the novels about Obi-Wan Kenobi and his time on Tatooine, kind of like before the first Star Wars came out. So that was the last book. Of course, that was like 2 years ago, but that was the last book I read.
Okay.
So there's one place we don't have anything. I've never seen the first minute of Star Wars.
Oh, you're missing out.
Not of that. Yep. 0 Star Wars in my life.
Oh,
We got to fix that.
we should.
Yeah.
Everybody says that.
We can drink bourbon and watch Star Wars.
I've made it 40 years without it, and I feel like I've got to just fight it and not watch it. Be that guy.
Have you seen Lord of the Rings?
Nope.
Oh, God.
Ah, that's a good one too. Yeah.
It's I don't know. I'm a nerd. I read. All right. So dinner with any historical figure ever. Who is it and why?
Now that's a tough one. So many people did cool stuff in history.
So many.
Gosh, I really don't know who that would be. But forcing me to pick one because I got to answer the question.
Of course, there's no outs.
Can I make an objection to that question?
I think Chris Light said, I don't know.
That sounds like Chris. He's like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it would have to be someone who probably did, like maybe a Lewis and Clark type person who did some westward expansion and figured out what our wilderness part of our country was like and just set off with no map. And
So when Jeff asked me this question, I said Lewis and Clark or Daniel Boone.
did you?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
I think it'd be cool to hear their story.
That would have been insane.
Absolutely.
I mean, just walking out into nothing
Yeah.
and seeing everything at the same time. I mean, that I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's scary, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've gone out to Colorado and gone out elk hunting solo, and you're just walking out into the wilderness. You're not following trails. You have your compass and your map, and just go.
I mean, you walk through Dawson WMA at nighttime. I mean, you hear some weird noises.
That's true.
I can't imagine without the spotlights and everything else back at. That's wild.
As long as there are no banjos.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Last meal you could ever eat, what would it be?
Elk tenderloin, Brussels sprouts, probably a Coors Banquet beer.
Oh, okay.
I like it. Probably where I'd go.
How do you do your Brussels sprout?
I like a little bit of a glaze with some bacon and a little sweetness to it.
That's how I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the way to do it.
Yep.
Mom used to boil when I was a kid, and I refused to eat them. But now that they've roasted them and glazed
We start roasting and glazing them. They're ideal.
Yeah.
They really are.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. What's your favorite vacation spot?
So there was this past summer, me and the family did London and Scotland.
Okay.
And my name Logan is from a Logan clan. My ancestor that I've traced back came from Scotland to Charleston, South Carolina in 1692. And so my name's Edward Logan Butler IV. So it's been a family name for years. But going to see Scotland was just amazing. I know, Spencer, you've been over there. Like, the scenery is absolutely beautiful. The food is amazing. The people are nice.
Yeah.
So that's been my favorite one. That's by far.
We haven't had Scotland yet, so that's neat.
I'd go back anytime.
I'd love to go over there and play golf.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I was on to go backpacking, like just show up and spend 2 weeks walking in the woods.
Yeah. We did a lot of hiking. That's also amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So what do you like to do at the end of a stressful day? Talk about getting all this pressure off. How do you get rid of it?
Part of it is being present for my family, right? Like that's some of the stuff we talk about in leadership. You have to be present. And my kids are great. My wife is awesome. They're involved in activities, and it's going to support them, be present for them. And then the other thing, we learned this leadership too, is you have to choose your attitude, right? Like, I can't control other people. I can control me.
Right.
And so I have to tell myself that that's work. That's leave it there, and be present. Hobby wise, I rebuild and work on cars. So sometimes I'll just go out in the garage and start tinkering on something, fixing this, replacing that. Shoot my bow in the backyard just for target practice. Play with my dog. Got a bird dog.
I was going to ask, we'll still have the dog. Okay.
Yeah, we'll go and work on bird stuff, and then just throw the tennis ball. Sit down, have a bourbon or a scotch just to relax. That's kind of fun on occasion.
I like it.
Or riding the motorcycle. But it's something that you have a passion for, so you can forget this stuff and focus on that stuff.
And something completely different too.
Completely different, yeah.
I forgot to ask when I did the shotgun thing, what kind of bow do you shoot?
So I have a Matthews Atlas.
Okay.
It's designed for really tall people because I have an incredibly long draw.
Well, what is your draw, do you know?
32.
32?
Yeah.
I think I'm 29 in the loop, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
32, that's long.
That's long, yeah. This bow will go to 34, which I don't need.
Yeah.
But most bows stop at like 30 inches, so it's hard to find one. But yeah, I got Matthews Atlas a couple years ago. Love it. Great bow.
I agree. I'm a Matthews guy myself.
Oh, there you go.
I feel like you guys are speaking a different language.
Yeah.
Man, get you into art.
Yeah, I know, right?
You talk about something to take your mind off of everything. Shooting a bow, I mean, you've got to be focused or you're going to make a mistake. So I enjoy shooting a bow.
Oh, it's so much with form and muscle memory and focus and breathing and
staying level the whole night.
Yeah, and when you're off, you kind of analyze your shot and say, well, was my grip different? Like, what did I do different, and how do I fix that?
Even if I can just get 5 or 10 shots in, I'll do it in the evening
That's why I just shoot off my deck in the backyard. I got a 3D elk and a block, and I just shoot.
I'm going to join you on this elk hunt one day.
You should. We'd have a blast.
All right, let's a couple more. Do you have a favorite quote or mantra that you live by?
So yeah, it's just two.
Okay.
And it kind of started with my dad. And, when things would happen and you kind of get out of sorts, my dad would always just say, hey, life's too short. Like, meaning, don't get caught up in that mess. Life is great. Life's too short. And he still says that. It kind of folds into a Jimmy Buffett quote. I'm a huge parrot head.
Okay.
Seen Jimmy Buffett live like a dozen times. But Jimmy said, it takes just as much time to see the good in life as it does to see the bad.
Yeah.
And that gets you back to choosing your attitude, being present. It really doesn't take any time difference.
Right.
So let's all be positive and not get caught up in the bad stuff.
Yeah. Probably less energy to be happy than it is to be mad. So.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, that brings up a question for me. What is your favorite Jimmy Buffett song?
Oh, Cowboy in the Jungle.
Okay. Mine's Migration.
Oh,
Nobody ever knows about that. I don't think.
That's awesome. Yeah. A lot don't know about Cowboy.
Yeah.
I think Migration's more rare than Cowboy in the Jungle. Yeah.
Outside of Cheeseburger in Paradise, I'm out. That's all I got.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah. Exactly. I was sad to see him die though. He was a cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I was in Colorado last year.
Yeah.
And I'd been walking in and I was sitting at the top of a draw just looking for elk, hanging out, and figured I'd check in with Jill. So I pull out my phone and just say, hey, I'm good. And texts were popping up. Jimmy Buffett died last night. And I was like, oh, man.
Yep.
Yeah, that one hurt.
Yeah. But it's a good place to hear it.
Well, we'll close it out with this. What's your favorite podcast?
This one? Well, come on. This way is awesome. If I ask, now you're number 2 that said that's good. And Meat Eater.
Yeah. Meat Eater.
Yeah.
I do love Meat Eater.
Yeah. And this is awesome. You guys are doing a great job.
What's spinoff from Meat Eater? Clay Newcomb.
Oh, Clay Newcomb's Bear Grease?
Bear Grease.
Yeah. That one's also good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I like it. Those guys they're
funny.
Yeah. Well, tell people where they can find you, Patterson Moore Butler.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Patterson Moore Butler. You'll never forget us because we've shortened the name to Pat Moore Butt.
Yep.
And we have beer koozies that say, if you Pat Moore Butt, you'll need Pat Moore Butt. Works in divorces, works in criminal cases. But we're here in town on Kelly Mill Road. If you Google Patterson Moore Butler, you'll find us.
Okay.
Also have an office in Dawsonville.
Yep.
And we're here to help you wherever you need.
You guys on social media?
We are. Instagram. It is Pat Moore Butt on Instagram.
Pat Moore Butt.
And then Patterson Moore Butler on, I think, Facebook and webpage and all the usual stuff.
Excellent. Well, y'all go give him a look. Give Logan a call if you need any criminal help. As always, you can find us at BettisMusgrove.com, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Bettis Musgrove, and then the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. Until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.